Hi, my name is Jana Chapin, and I'm a FEMA crisis counselor with the Colorado Spirit. Thank you for joining our video series. I truly hope it's been helpful to you. Today, I'm going to talk briefly about moral injury. The moral injury was originally identified in soldiers returning from war. However, during a study from a project at Syracuse University, they generalized it to more than just military. And they defined it as damage done to one's conscience or moral compass when that person perpetrates, witnesses, or fails to prevent acts that transgress one's own moral beliefs, values, or ethical codes of conduct. This is now being used to describe many situations during our current pandemic, law enforcement, and our healthcare systems. Now, in case you're wondering if moral injury applies to you, some examples might be having to make impossible decisions and work under extreme pressures, deciding how to allocate scant resources to equally needy patients, residents, individuals that you're working with in the public, maybe a clergy member with their parishioners, how to balance your own personal and mental health care needs with those your individuals that you're serving. Witnessing a great deal more suffering and death than what is normally expected. We've definitely seen that in our healthcare systems during this pandemic. How to provide care for all severely unwell patients with constrained or sometimes inadequate resources. I recently had a conversation with an individual who was having to assess morbidity calculations, which definitely causes moral injury when you have a situation where you have everyone who is unwell and you have limited resources, limited staff, and having to make decisions on who has the best chance of surviving. They had to do that in facilities in other countries. And that is definitely something that's going to affect our moral compass. It's going to cause injury to our beliefs in caring for others and why we got into these jobs to begin with, of wanting to help people get better or protect others. And then having to make decisions that affect the survival of others, or where all options will lead to a negative outcome. And that's where a lot of moral injury has also happened, especially in our healthcare systems, where we're used to having some more positive outcomes. And when we are having to deal with one negative outcome over the other, even though it has nothing to do with our own abilities or our own efforts in trying to help people, it is difficult not to internalize those situations. Some of the symptoms of moral injury, and this is definitely not an inclusive list, is PTSD symptoms that don't resolve on their own, memories, avoiding individuals or situations, difficulty sleeping or concentrating. And in one of our previous videos, we did talk about compassion fatigue, and moral injury and compassion fatigue are close cousins. So some of the symptoms might feel very similar. Self-harming behavior. And oftentimes when you hear that, you might think of cutting, which is definitely a self-harming behavior, but other self-harming behaviors are poor self-care, not getting enough adequate sleep, not eating right, not taking the breaks that you need both physically and mentally, engaging in the overeating, over drinking, medicating ourselves to be able to sleep, or just deal and handle with the trauma the secondary trauma that we're experiencing with helping those in traumatic situations. And then self-handicapping behaviors, retreating in the face of success or good feelings. And this oftentimes makes me think of the, shame versus guilt, of I did something bad versus I'm bad. And oftentimes when we have so many different negative situations that we're having to face, it's hard for someone not to internalize that and take that on as a failure of you as a person, rather than looking at the circumstances that you're dealing with and how difficult that is for anyone to be successful in when we're having to make those kinds of decisions. And then demoralization, a sense of futility, feelings of depression, hopelessness, self-loathing. Again, this goes a bit hand in hand with compassion fatigue, where we have feelings of, every day is a bad day, not getting the same kind of fulfillment that we once got from our jobs and helping people because of the various negative experiences or issues that have affected our moral compass. So what are some of the things that we can do when we recognize these symptoms? We know that we've seen a lot of pain and suffering, especially this last year, and we know that it's affected us. And some of the things that we can do, starting with the 3 selves: self-compassion, self-forgiveness, mercy, and self-care. In one of our previous videos, we did talk about self-compassion already. In one of our subsequent videos, we will be discussing self-forgiveness, mercy, and self-care. But to give you some additional tips to help you in handling moral injury, combating it, cultivate healthy friendships outside of work. It's great to have camaraderie with people that you work with, but oftentimes when we get together with people that we work with, what do? We talk about work. And it's great to be able to have that separation. I know that one of our other counselors did a great video on boundaries. And so that is in line with this. So it's great to be able to have conversations that have nothing to do with work, to give our brains a break from thinking about it all the time. Keeping a journal can be very cathartic. It allows you to just say whatever you want, no judgment, get all these feelings out, be able to process that are just our experiences and our emotions. Boosting your resiliency. Proper sleep and exercise helps with that. You know, part of our resiliency we're born with, but the other part of it is very self-directed. It's very choices that we make to become resilient. So practicing thought awareness, you know, if we find ourselves catastrophizing situations because of experiences we've had, stop that thought process, be cognizant of it, and think about, okay, what do I know in this particular situation? What are the facts I know versus what my fear is? And then think of some positive outcomes that can happen in that situation to stop us from going down spiraling paths that are negative. And then identify workplace strategies. Support groups and open discussions among coworkers can be very helpful when it comes to the situations that you've had to deal with in whatever work environment that you have. I read a great analogy the other day that talked about, you know, bottling those types of emotions in is like holding a beach ball underwater. And eventually it's going to pop out and you don't know who it's going to hit or how far it's going to go. So it's important to not keep those feelings and situations in, and you'd be surprised how many people are feeling very, very similar to you. Taking regular breaks is so crucial. Just make it happen however you can. I know sometimes it's difficult to take a break to use the bathroom or have a snack, let alone take a structured break that lasts for 15 minutes or more. But it really is crucial to our mental and physical health. And if your job offers mental health days, take them. Please take them. There's a reason they have them, and they're needed. We all need them. And then I love the idea of a relaxation room if your workplace offers something like that, where you can maybe even have a timer on the wall so you're not looking at your phone, relaxing music, maybe some lavender smell, something that would really allow your body to relax and decompress and keep you in the moment rather than ruminating on the past or worrying about the future. So I hope this video has been helpful to you. I would, again, recommend keeping a journal if that's something that you feel is helpful to you. And of course, always reach out to us if you want any individual conversations. We're happy to help. So I hope you have a great rest of the week and hope this video is helpful to you.